Think about the most powerful entities on planet Earth: Apple, Microsoft, Saudi Aramco, or maybe the US government. You see their names every single day. They operate in the bright light of public scrutiny. But what if I told you there is a ghost corporation, a shadow empire that makes over $300 billion a year? That is more than the GDP of entire nations. It has no massive headquarters, no public advertising, and no consumer products. Yet, they control the very fluid that keeps human civilization alive: oil. They have fueled secret wars, bypassed strict international sanctions, and made deals with brutal dictators under the table. When the United States bans a country from selling its oil, this company steps into the dark, changes the identity of massive ships in the middle of the ocean, and sells that forbidden oil back to the West. They are not politicians, they are not pirates, they are commodity traders, and their king is a secretive Swiss entity called Vitol. Welcome to the Yield Code. Today, we are decoding the matrix of the world's most dangerous financial ghost. To understand how a company can make $300 billion while remaining completely invisible, we have to look at the lawless heart of Europe, Switzerland. In 1966, two Dutch businessmen, Henk Viator and Jacques Dettiger, founded Vitol in Rotterdam with just a few $1,000s. But they quickly realized that if you want to play a game where there are no rules, you need to move to a place where the government doesn't ask questions. They moved to Geneva. Unlike ExxonMobil or Shell, Vitol is a private company. It is owned entirely by around 400 of its top employees. This is their ultimate superpower. Because they are private, they don't have to report their profits to shareholders. They don't have to issue public statements. They don't have to answer to the media. They operate in a legal gray area called commodity trading. They don't dig for oil. They don't own the oil wells. Instead, they buy it where it's cheap, transport it through dangerous waters, and sell it where it's expensive. They are the middlemen of global survival. And because they control the supply chain, they control the leverage. If Vitol stops working for 1 week, the lights in half of Europe go out. But how does a company make $300 billion without owning a single drop of its own oil fields? The answer lies in the shadows of international law. When the United Nations or the United States places sanctions on a country, like Russia, Iran, or Venezuela, it becomes illegal for Western countries to buy their oil. Their economies are supposed to freeze. But the oil doesn't disappear, it just gets incredibly cheap under the table. And this is exactly where Vitol's ultimate game begins. In the commodity trading world, this is known as the dark fleet, or ship-to-ship, STS transfers. A massive oil tanker will load crude oil from a sanctioned country. As soon as it hits international waters, it goes completely dark. It turns off its transponders, making it invisible to global tracking satellites. Then, in the dead of night, in the middle of the ocean, it meets another vessel owned or leased by a trading giant. Under the cover of darkness, billions of dollars of forbidden oil are pumped from one ship to another. When the second ship arrives at a Western port, the paperwork is completely clean. The oil's origin has been magically rewritten. It is no longer sanctioned oil. It is legally certified as a mixture from a completely neutral country. The Western governments know this happens, but they look the other way. Why? Because if this ghost oil suddenly stopped flowing, global energy prices would skyrocket, causing a catastrophic economic collapse. Vitol doesn't just break the rules, they exploit the hypocrisy of the global financial matrix. If you think hiding oil in the ocean is crazy, wait until you see how they control the fates of entire revolutions. In 2011, the country of Libya was tearing itself apart. The dictator Muammar Gaddafi was fighting a bloody civil war against rebel forces. Gaddafi controlled the oil fields, meaning the rebels had no money, no fuel, and were on the verge of total destruction. In that exact moment, a top executive from Vitol secretly flew into Benghazi, the rebel stronghold. He didn't come to bring humanitarian aid. He came to make a bet. Vitol made a deal that shocked the geopolitical world. They agreed to supply the rebels with over $1 billion worth of fuel and energy resources on credit. No cash down. Just a pure gamble that the rebels would win, and the gamble paid off. When Gaddafi's regime collapsed, the new Libyan government owed Vitol a massive debt. How did they pay it back? By giving Vitol exclusive rights to export Libya's ultra-premium crude oil for years. Vitol didn't just trade commodities, they traded power. They funded a rebellion, altered the course of a war, and secured an empire of energy, all from a quiet office in Switzerland. Today Vitol remains completely untouchable. They have mastered the art of being too big, too secretive, and too essential to fail. They own massive shipping fleets, oil refineries on multiple continents, and thousands of gas stations across Africa and Australia. They are intertwined with the survival of every major economy on the planet. Every time you turn on your car, charge your phone, or buy a product shipped from overseas, a fraction of your money flows directly into the pockets of the 400 secret partners in Geneva. The Matrix wants you to believe that politicians and central banks run the world, but the real leverage belongs to the ghosts who control the supply chain. They cracked the code of global trade, neutralized their competition, and captured the Matrix. Chapter 4. The Food Crisis Masterminds. Visual cue. Sudden aggressive transition. Footage of starving dry lands in Africa, empty supermarket shelves and chaotic stock market trading screens, flashing wheat and grain prices. Voiceover. But oil wasn't enough for Vitol. They realized that if you can control the fluid that moves the world, you can also control the food that keeps humanity alive. In the late 2000s, Vitol quietly expanded into agricultural commodities: wheat, sugar, corn, and grain. Visual cue. Close-up of automated financial algorithms trading at lightning speed. Graphics showing food prices skyrocketing on a chart. Voiceover. During the global food crisis, when the prices of basic food staples doubled, millions of people starved. But behind the closed doors in Geneva, Vitol's trading algorithms were making historic profits. By betting on the scarcity of food and manipulating the supply chain, they made billions off the world's hunger. To them, a drought isn't a human tragedy, it's a perfect profit margin. Chapter 5. The Wall Street Connection's Untouchable Ghosts. Visual cue. Cinematic dark drone shot of Wall Street and the New York Stock Exchange at night. Cuts to high-ranking politicians shaking hands with corporate elites. Voiceover. You might wonder, how does a company like Vitol get away with all of this? Why doesn't the FBI, the CIA, or European regulators shut them down? The answer is simple: complete systemic capture. Vitol is heavily intertwined with the world's biggest banks and intelligence networks. They employ former government officials, top-tier diplomats, and ex-intelligence officers. They know secrets that could crash the global financial system overnight. Visual cue. A massive cargo ship sailing off into a beautiful gold sunset, leaving a dark trail in the water. The screen slowly fades out. Voiceover. They are the hidden glue that keeps the broken system running. They exist in the gray zone, between legal and illegal, peace and war, survival and collapse. They are the ultimate shadow lords of the financial matrix. Welcome to the Yield Code. Subscribe and let's keep decoding the truth together.